I'm in the awe-inspiring place of God, which is solitary. Nagardis is confronting the enemy's armies I present to you. Before going anywhere else, I urge you all, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, then subscribe. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and share it, and let us know by commenting how you found our videos below. Now let's move toward the story.
Like this. Since we've turned into enemies, but now we've received news from Babu Sheikh Sarai that we are going to be examined for the next front lines on these 2 dates. Surely this bush has some new mischief in mind. We know it's mischief. We should not take leave if possible. And since you are a senior, before this you have crossed the border successfully many times. While King Shan Haider is going on a mission for the first time, it was necessary to explain it well, that the assignment is also more on a good slice of it as you can come to the fore. Whatever your worthy subordinates are, and you're lucky that the first mission will be supervised by your master, now senior surgeon Sniper. And my master, whose mission was to be completed a load of 5 kilos away from here, was unconscious, and all the responsibility of the world was on Amos 19, i.e., on me. It was his advice to go back, leaving the mission incomplete, but on my insistence it was necessary to part ways. He had to let me go, reluctantly. He kept explaining to me for 2 hours, and I was more impressed by his master's wedding, because the teachings of family life are more important than Einstein's. Along with the vision, as I advanced, which had to be made a target. It was a place where there were natural stones filled the roads passing through. Such places have become a natural speed breaker for the cars passing through. From that place, only quarters. Lips were left at the end. I made a drop explosive device, 2 letters pressed into all the ground, in such a way that I could target it sitting on the side. And after targeting Yadav, the purpose was to keep Brigadier Prakash's phrases timely. And after targeting him, not to let his children go elsewhere. And in reality, after targeting the accident, this ID could not be hit. So it was very difficult, it was impossible to hit. And one is also about the real identity. There is also why it is always on its targets. There is trust. Today is July 28th, and the day has passed, and tomorrow Brigadier Prakash's arrival. I took care and thought carefully. We will know the problems of the enemy's arrival. 1. I made an RC fan in an area where I found a gap. It was a victory to choose the left side. The advantage was that Printed Prakash had to sit in the front seat with the driver, so he had to be on the left side, and then I escaped. This was also the same way. There was a little more feeling of ID being right. I came back to the pain and lay down in the mashan and fell asleep, tying myself with a rope I didn't forget. Otherwise, in the second form, I could have fallen down in a different way, despite all the tiredness of the day and the rest. I couldn't sleep well at night. My eyes would open again and again. Once the horn was heard, I felt the sensation, and again, when the horn was blown, a smile ran on my lips because I had recognized the voice. It was in that area. The voice of a large-sized rat, which is bigger than a cat in fate, is a matter of question. His voice is completely clear when he shouts just what feels as if the horn is being blown in the morning. Remembering it, I woke up with a start and started climbing the tree. The enemy's arrival was in the afternoon, meaning this color. The officers waking up in the morning is just a joke. After waking up, rushing to the helicopter creative headquarters, and then from there to the next front lines coming by road. It's so late to come out. The situation outside is also changing. I was not supposed to go, but despite that, I became completely careless as the sun grew hotter. I sat down cautiously and began to survey the surrounding areas through binoculars. Whatever the sun had decided, I was ready. A jeep approached, and I closely observed it through the binoculars. The scene of the jeep sitting in the front seats was very similar to Brigadier Prakash. As we got closer to the mosque, their ranks became visible. A man, Dharm, sat with the driver, while Amit Jha and Nitin were standing next to each other. The jeep was moving at a slow pace, but they were inspecting the road before Brigadier Prakash arrived. My tightened hopes were loosening as they continued on the slow journey along that rough road. I was sure that the wait was about to end. Taking full advantage of the camouflage, I prepared myself for the reception of Cricket Prakash. I held the rifle in my hands with one eye on the side and the other on the Class A news. I had my entire sight bound and ready, with 3 deep lines visible inside. 2 lines remained on one side of the area, while 1 thick line was descending from below and going upwards. Life was thick below, with a very fine upper edge. These lines disappeared carefully. If the lower line is raised upwards, a big jam mark forms inside. The upper edge of this age line was also very fine. Target point enemy reconnaissance. The Jeep would be in trouble once it passed by. Suddenly, the Jeep's tires burst with a loud bang. With a slight swerve, the Jeep veered into the crowd. Indian soldiers, armed and ready, jumped out of the Jeep, and the area swirled with activity. Running towards the tire, meaning the children were safe. All 3 cars came to a halt. In the midst of all this, the sound of a cooking channel caught my attention, and I fired the rifle again to complete the easy movement of the ticket, leaving the weapon to rest on the ground, which could produce a distinct sound on the stony ground. The driver's elevated voice and the opening of the Jeep's door were heard, and everyone else also turned their attention towards him. Once again, shifting the rifle from the copy of the ID, I fired the 3rd shot. The explosion was deafening, and at the same time, all the soldiers suddenly opened fire. The environment was buzzing with the sounds of gunfire, as no one yet knew about my hiding place, so bullets were raining down from all sides. The Jeep's many specific openings were opened, and 2 officers came out firing blindly. After being refused to fire, who were 2 senior officers after Brigadier Prakash, our Ustad Subedar Rudrapur used to say that if any army unit needs to control the entire border and air, then eliminate their commander. I remembered the golden opportunity of the Ustad's words at that moment. The rate of documents here increases. I fired at one of the 2 officers arriving in both offices from the Toyota Jeep. He fell down, and the other momentarily came into the shop's situation. In the end, knowing my rifle was not in the magazine, the last bullet in it, and the other was near his finger, falling and writhing like a fish out of water, I changed the medicine from Surat at that time. 8 men were visible from Surat. One of them aimed at the same planets where he was hiding. I thought of hiding the moon from him first, and the next moment, I was struggling like a chicken. He had to flee from there as soon as Brigadier Prakash died, but with fewer enemies and open your hood, seeing continuous shots increased my courage. Ustad Mahatma Samaritan's example is like an arrow in the dark. It knows where to come out at this moment. The unseen enemy is seen. The next meeting stole another life. Hugo, we are surrounded by the enemy. A man tightened the last tips and put the car in reverse gear, but couldn't move more than a few steps back. My fired bullet forced him to lie on the steering. The rest of the men pulled out of the car with all their might. I was estranged from my water body. I was home, they were running towards the mod of the Serpent, changing continuously with their companions in the last. It is advisable to understand while thinking. While my morale was touching the sky, they were out of range. As soon as I landed from Surat and went back with the help of trees, we were able to go. Friends, this was the first installment of our new series. We hope you liked our video. Before leaving, we request you to like, share, and comment on this video, and let us know how you liked our video. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then subscribe to it so that you keep getting all the videos on time. You will meet in the next video. Take care until then.